Do you know how close we could have been to actually, for real, being able to say live from Reno, "This is the Best Care Anywhere podcast"? I thought about it.
Pretty
I thought
close.
about it for
Pretty
a
close.
half second last week, and I'm like, man, it'd be actually kind of cool if two of us were in Reno.
Live from the back of Wilson's hotel room in Reno.
Live from the
have-
back room where the pit boss is beating up Wilson, it's the Best Care Anywhere podcast.
Pretty
Listen
much.
to his muffled screams as a form of ASMR throughout this episode.
No, it won't. How are you guys? What's new and exciting?
Well, I am doing much better than I was earlier today
Oh,
because I really see having a video portion would be amazing for this podcast because I could do so many visual gags, but at the same time, it would never work with my internet. So you can't tell that I'm holding up a 1 pound bar of Belgian dark chocolate right now, but I am.
Where did
Okay.
you get a 1 pound bar of Belgian dark chocolate?
You know, I want you to guess where I got this from on my way home from work in Rockland.
Jasty,
Rockland.
I've known you a long time. You could have literally found it on the street corner under a
Absolutely.
stop sign. I don't know, that Russian market.
Okay, fair, good guess.
that's a good guess. Good guess.
Good guess,
100%.
good guess.
Good guess.
No, and you're gonna hate yourself for this, but I
Oh,
got it
no.
at Trader Joe's.
I actually don't
that
hate
is-
myself. I hate you for that.
I know.
I
But
was
but-
going to say grocery outlet until you said Rockland.
ooh, grocery outlet, yeah, that would be another
Grocery
right this
outlet
area,
has
but
some
no.
random shit like that.
This is a pound bar, a 1 pound bar of 72% dark chocolate, and it's fucking delicious.
So how much
Nice.
of that pound is left?
I just took my first little nibble, and it's delicious. So
Fabulous.
rich and dark.
I
You know
didn't
how
get a
much it
chance.
cost me?
Oh God, how much did it cost you?
$4.99. Yeah, boy.
$4.99.
Whoa.
I didn't get a chance to warn the audience that we've spoken to each other in the last month, but we haven't sat at length for podcast reasons and spoken to each other for
Yes.
literally 29 days.
Yep.
So there's a lot to catch up on real quick. Wilson traveled,
Traveled quite a
as
bit.
per usual.
I have been in 5 different states since we last spoke.
Oh my God. And
A new
no
record.
joke, he was in Reno last week and when we were supposed to record this episode, and I really genuinely considered driving up to Reno just to say we were live from Reno for this episode.
Well, we
But-
still can. I'll absolutely lie to our audience.
No, we're already like 5 minutes in. Has anything else interesting or exciting happened since
I mean, my house almost
then?
burned down, but
yeah,
that's about it.
I wasn't. We. I feel like we manifested that a little bit because literally every
Yeah.
episode we talked about how California is on fire. I'm like, we should probably stop.
Well,
Hmm.
let's
Yeah.
let's nod. Hey, Anthony, is California still on fire?
Constantly.
Very cool. Thank
and
you.
they just released a report saying, oh, by the way, the next time we do get biblical rain, the state's gonna flood worse than it's ever has. So, no one can make up their mind what's wrong with California. Everything is, apparently.
Everything
So-
is. We're just getting extremes now. Instead of it
I
being
saw
just
that
like
report.
moderate weather, now we're getting extreme drought and then extreme biblical flooding. Isn't that fun?
No.
Well, the only good thing about biblical drought is that Lake Mead is the lowest it's ever been, which is good because the
They're
sooner
finding-
Las Vegas is wiped off the map, the better.
they're finding,
They're finding
so many bodies.
Yes.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Oh my
Dude,
God.
yeah, look up how many bodies they have found in Lake Mead in the last, 2 months.
Like
Oh,
it is.
God.
It is at least 5, if not more.
I
Oh
mean,
my
let's be
God.
honest.
There's like a half dozen stories about different bodies.
Mhm.
Let's be honest, surprising literally no one. But anyway.
But still,
It is 5 since May.
Wow. Dang. So, yeah, Las Vegas. I've been there once. Don't need to go there again.
excellent opinion.
Yeah. So because we haven't talked in a month, there's a lot of follow-up we need to do real quick because I feel really bad because I missed a comment from someone on the YouTubes, one of our first YouTube's comments, because the podcast gets, the audio of the podcast gets posted there with some just nothing. It's nothing fancy. It's just slideshows. It's basically just clips, screenshots from the episode on a background. It's just another avenue for people to listen to it. But I feel bad because literally like the same day we last recorded, I didn't catch it that we had a comment. So literally this comment's been sitting here for a month.
Oh no.
So Chad, I'm so sorry. Hi. Chad on the very first episode 0. Remember episode 0? That was fun.
Vaguely.
Wow.
He commented that we are ticking off a lot of boxes. He is an Eagle Scout from way back when, with lots of camp memories of my own. One of his big regrets was that he never worked on staff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
It's never too late. Anyway, like
so much of feeling and emotion in one sentence.
You know that scene in Saving Private Ryan where it zooms in on his face and then it zooms out and he's young Tom Hanks again? That's what just happened.
That's what just happened. Yeah.
He says, like MASH and The Godfather, he also turns 50 this year.
Congratulations.
When I was little, I would watch the reruns for the silly stuff, and then when I got a bit older, I was allowed to stay up late enough to watch the last couple seasons of MASH during their initial broadcast, including the final episode, which made me bawl like a baby. There must be something in the air because I just started my own slow rewatch a couple months ago, currently in the middle of season 2. You're ahead of us. That's not nice. Stop watching. Stop watching for a year and a half.
Please watch only one episode per month, please.
Yeah, one episode per month so we can catch up.
That's about roughly 40 seconds a day. Slow down there, buckaroo.
Yeah. So, Chad, thank you for the nice comment, and happy 50th birthday, whenever that is. We also had a comment that I missed from, ironic, because this is something that happened to me, or I say happened to me, that I did in the time since we last talked. A comment on the Yankee Doodle Doctor episode from Fat Little Hobbitses. It's fat little hobbits, but I can't say that without saying hobbitses because
it is hobbitses. That's how it's pronounced.
He said, just found your podcast on Audible a couple of hours ago. I had no idea how badly I needed this in my life. By the way, I went back and rewatched To Market just to hear Hawkeye singing Crochet Your Titties, and he still can't believe he hadn't noticed that before.
Yeah. Isn't that just weird? The things you notice by rewatching stuff? Yeah,
it's... With the subtitles on, too, I don't think I ever would have caught it if I never watched MASH with the subtitles on.
Probably not, because it was just very, very low in the background, kind of. Yeah, subtitles, people. Subtitles. They're your friend.
On that note, I will mention, just because it's something we have talked about as a friend group quite a bit, I finally did it. I finally have begun my unexpected journey, if you will.
Yes.
So long story short, because this could go off into a whole tangent that will take half the podcast. I'm a lover of books and book series, but one of the ones I had never picked up and read was anything by the one, the only J.R.R. Tolkien. And finally, with the new, hopefully good, Lord of the Rings Amazon show, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I finally said, if there was ever going to be a time to start, it's now. And I, over the last month, did the audiobook of The Hobbit read by Andy Serkis with all the different voices he does, which is so cool. And I'm waiting for my Audible credit to renew so I can listen to whatever the first of the 3 main Lord of the Rings ones is. I don't know what order. I know the names of the
The first one is the Fellowship of the Ring.
That's what I thought, but I didn't want to be wrong on the internet because the internet is unkind sometimes.
Yeah. Fellowship, Two Towers, Return of the King. Yeah.
I thought that was the order, so I wasn't. Again, I didn't. I know my lane, and I'm staying in it. But yeah, so hopefully, when my Audible credit renews, I will be starting Fellowship of the Ring.
Very exciting.
Yeah, and I enjoyed The Hobbit. It was a lot of fun. I was very confused by some of the character choices, but again, I think we talked about that The Hobbit is kind of like the welcome to the world. It's
very
kind of
much
chill.
Like the introduction phase. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten through the ridiculousness of us trying to summarize the last month of our life, let's talk about MASH. No, wait, I forgot. There's one more thing I want to talk about because I just saw it pop up on Twitter before we started recording. So I've said before, I try really hard not to listen to other MASH podcasts that do like retrospectives on the series, unless they're like way like multiple seasons ahead of us, because I don't want to accidentally parrot anything. Does that make sense? Like I don't want to listen to someone do Cowboy and then like accidentally just repeat something I heard them say, not intentionally, but just because it's in my, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to accidentally plagiarize because that's not cool. But if you haven't checked out some of the other MASH podcasts that are out there, do, because they're all fantastic. And one of them is MASH Matters. And the reason I bring them up is because they just announced something very cool that they're doing later this month. And I wanted to share it because realistically, by the time our audience hears this, the opportunity will be gone. But it's still cool to kind of point out what they're doing because I think it's awesome. Jeff and Ryan, Jeff being, I'm going to forget his last name. Jeff, why can't I think of his name? Jeff Maxwell. Jeff Maxwell of the two is actually an actor from the show. He plays Igor, the cook's assistant, I think.
Oh.
He's like the mess. So I don't think we see him in the early seasons, but we'll see. He's kind of a secondary kind of background character that we see a lot in the later seasons. So he hosts a podcast with Ryan Patrick, and they've been doing it for years. I think their first episode came out like in 2018, like September 2018. So they've been going at it for like 4 years now. And they don't do like a strict episode by episode watch through. They just kind of meander and talk about different topics and episodes as they come up. But the cool thing about their podcast is they have access to a lot of the extras and crew and writers, and they've done interviews with Loretta and Alan Alda, and because they know obviously Jeff knows them and he can kind of get these cool people. So absolutely recommend their podcast. But something that they are doing this month, and I just wanted to like throw props to them and big thumbs up, is they are going out on September the 17th, the 50th anniversary of the show, out to Malibu Creek State Park, and they're doing a 50 ticket VIP breakfast where the mess tent was set up, and all the money is going to go to the Malibu Creek State Park for improvements to the site. So like a permanent, I don't know specifically this is their plan, but they mentioned like, there's not potable water out at the site. You have to hike your water in. There's not a restroom out at the site, and it's just a trail along the creek. It's not really well maintained. So I guess they're going to raise the money and put it towards making some improvements to the Malibu Creek State Park, specifically the MASH film site. So that is something very cool. And I think eventually, not anytime soon because I'm poor, but eventually I would love to make a trip down there and just stay at the campground at the trailhead and then hike out there one day, because there's not any, I think there's like some old burned out Jeeps in a picnic area, but still it'd be cool to hike out and just kind of stand out there and be like, oh, this is where they filmed it. Oh yeah, I can see where this was set up. And I don't know. I just wanted to point that out because a pilgrimage. Yes, a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. So I just want to bring that up because I saw it literally right before we were about to record. And I just wanted to throw out that these two guys are going and doing something cool to kind of beautify and refurbish the site, because it's still, I think they say on their little announcement that the park still gets 1,000+ visitors a month that people hike out to the site and stuff. So yeah, it definitely it got some. I know it got a big facelift a couple years back because it was literally like 2 rundown old picnic tables and a burned out Jeep, and someone put up a new like a signpost like the one in the show. And yeah, I want to go out there one day. But yeah, Jeff Maxwell and Ryan Patrick, thank you so much for doing that. That's so awesome. And I hope to get out there one day and just sit out there and stare at the mountains and lose myself in MASH memories. So yeah, that's my little rant.
Yeah.
Moving on.
No, doing something like that would be just amazing if I had the time and money.
Yeah, time and money. Also, like, what else are we going to do down there? Because it's LA and we all know how we feel.
Yeah, we're going to fucking leave. That's what we're going to do.
There are 2 things I would like to do down there. Yeah, going out to the mountains and seeing the MASH spot, yes. But also going back to Universal Studios. That would be fun.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Disneyland, hard pass on. Sorry, Disneyland. There's just too many people there.
Okay, hang on. I might cut this in editing, but genuinely, if we did go down there, if we did one day in Disneyland and just beeline to the Star Wars part,
You know, I could stomach Disneyland if we went for the Star Wars.
Just to check out. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
I could
I'd
do
be
that.
down for
I could do that.
Okay. So yeah, now that we've rambled even longer, thanks to me, let's talk about MASH Season 1, Episode 8? Yeah, 8. We're on 8. Cowboy. What did you guys think going into this episode? Like, I'm starting to realize that some of the episode titles are like, what the actual hell does this have to do with this show?
Yeah.
But so yeah, we open on kind of a cool starting shot. We get the helicopter coming in and, picking up wounded, typical opening to the show. But then our helicopter pilot, who is, as Wilson pointed out earlier, he is in a getup.
Like my man, as the kids say,
got the drip.
Oh God!
It's drip or drown, and Cowboy's a lifeguard. That's.
Oh, I hate everything that's coming out of you guys' mouths.
Okay, but bullshittery aside, I had an aeronautical question for you, Anthony, because I know you're an airplane and airline enthusiast. These helicopters that they use were they ever actually a staple in Korea, or were they just cheap for the film purposes of the show?
So the helicopters you see flying are I'm gonna forget the exact model. They're the Bell. I think it's 47. The Bell 47 Sioux. Yeah, the helicopters you see flying are the helicopters they used in Korea with the stretcher pads and all that jazz. The one that you see in the background when like radars checking on Cowboy, I'm pretty sure is like a mock-up one, because you can tell kind of by the landing skids that it just looks like it's it doesn't look like it's a real helicopter. It looks like a really good reproduction of one that doesn't fly for the ground shots. But no, they were filming with real Bell 47 Sioux. And I really hope it's Bell 47, because if it's not Bell 47, I'm going to feel really irritated. And I could Google it right now, but I don't want to have all my clickety-clackety typing noises. So, yeah. So, yeah, helicopters come in. Also, side note, at some point, I'm going to do this. You can buy the Bell 47. I'm just going to call it the Sioux. I'm going to stop doubling down on the number I'm not sure of.
It is the Bell 47. I looked it up.
Oh, thank Jesus.
Oh, wonderful.
Every time I said it, I was getting more and more nervous. Someone did a full flight sim model of the Bell 47 in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and someone made the MASH site a airport you can take off and land at. So at some point, that'll be happening just for my own fun. Maybe I'll stream it. Maybe I won't. Who knows?
Who's to say?
Yeah. Anyway, helicopters come in. Our pilot gets out. He is bedecked in cowboy attire, hat, gun belt, guns, boots, probably spurs if we're being honest. And he has a shoulder wound and collapses, presumably from blood loss, and Radar gets him help to the hospital. What do you know what kind of pistols he's rocking? Are those Peacemakers?
I'm actually fairly certain they're Ruger Blackhawks with pearl grips. So they're
they're not Colt. They're not Colt Navies, are they?
No, they're not Colt. I don't think they're Colt anything. I'm fairly certain that they are in fact Blackhawks.
Are you sure? Are you saying that just because you have a Blackhawk?
I'm not. I'm saying that because of I'm saying that because of the way they are.
You can tell what it is by the way it was.
Yes.
No, the trigger guard and the space between the trigger and the cylinder is a pretty dead ringer, but they all kind of look alike.
Long story short, he is rocking some beautiful pistols. So Radar goes and wakes up Hawkeye, tells him Cowboy's been hit again. So apparently this has happened before, which I don't doubt at all. Hawkeye gets up and he starts, obviously we're back into an OR scene again.
Pretty standard stuff.
Pretty standard opening to the show. Yeah, pretty standard opening OR scene. Nothing to speak about, except for I wanted to point out Father Mulcahy.
Yes.
I believe this is our first big scene with him since the boxing match. I think we've seen him once or twice, like in a background shot, but this is his first major mention on screen in a while. And the thing I wanted to point out about Father Mulcahy that we're going to see again and again in the series is he is a Catholic priest. Now, from what little I know about Catholicism, for a long time, and you could argue in some ways still today, it was not a well looked upon religion in the United States. I don't know how else to word that. It's not like they were necessarily persecuted, but definitely Protestantism and other versions of Christianity were much more popular. And it wasn't really until the Kennedys, the first Catholic first family, was in the White House that kind of Catholicism became a more normal. I don't know if I'm worrying. I am not a theological
widely
scholar.
accepted.
Yeah. It was very much the primary religion in the United States was not Catholicism, and I do not believe it is still.
Well, the Klan, the KKK targeted Catholics too for a while there because they, viewed them for many reasons. But
I do not know enough about the various different sects of Christianity to say anything further than what I have. The thing that I constantly appreciate about Father Mulcahy in this series is he is a Catholic priest. He is a Jesuit Catholic priest. That does not matter in his current position in the camp. We are going to see him in the series give out almost every denomination you can think of religious-wise services to the wounded in the camp. We see him here doing a full-on Hebrew prayer for Private Goldstein, which is impressive. And I love they just kind of watch him do it for a second. Hawkeye's like, funny, he doesn't look it. But there's going to be a lot of really wonderful moments with William Christopher as Father Mulcahy where he'll joke about being Catholic, but at the end of the day, he is the camp's spiritual guide. And there's a lot of really cool episodes kind of exploring what that means or doesn't mean, because as you may have been able to tell by the kind of attitude of the camp, they're not necessarily thinking, yes, Sunday morning, let us go bask in the light of God in this mess tent and thank him for his beauty upon this earth as, artillery shells explode in the distance. Like, there's going to be some very cool episodes with Father Mulcahy, and just seeing the little bit of him as a Catholic priest offering a Hebrew prayer to a soldier was just kind of got me excited for the episodes we're going to get to talk about in the future. So, Father Mulcahy rant.
Yeah. No, he is one of the characters that stands out to me as just being, just exceptional, I guess. Yeah.
And as beautiful as all that is, it's immediately followed up by, seriously, Doc, what do you think of my legs? Well, I'm a fanny man myself.
Yes, we get into post-op where we learn that Hawkeye is a fanny man. Interesting.
Tell me more, or don't. Both options are fine.
And then we get to meet Cowboy officially, played by Billy Greenbush. This is his only appearance on MASH, and he had a reputation of playing kind of one-off parts in different shows and kind of cult classic movies, and he had the reputation of kind of being the good old boy. He had a reputation for playing those types of roles, so he fits very well in here as what is we know his name. It's John Hodges. Lieutenant John Hodges.
John Hodges.
AKA Cowboy. Can we comment on the glorious mustache this man is rocking?
It is
iconic, I think.
I'm jealous, honestly. All right, now that we've taken a moment to observe the mustache, he's wounded in the shoulder and he is expecting a letter in the mail and he wants to go home. He hints very heavily that there's something at home that requires his attention, but he's not really willing to talk about it. I'm sure that won't come back to have any ramifications in the plot line of this episode.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Sometimes foreshadowing is rather obvious.
So we leave the post-op and we have a scene that, I don't know why, this scene just annoys me. That's not the correct way I want to word it. This scene, I know why this scene is in the episode and we'll talk about it later, but it's just, again, having watched the series as many times as I do, this is one of the scenes that I just kind of roll my eyes and kind of go, okay, can we get on with it? And it's the scene with Trapper arguing with Frank about Trapper and the nurse taking the Jeep out for a rendezvous, as it were.
A nature walk.
Yes. Actually, I believe the excuse he uses is that she is his pitching coach.
That's what he says
uses
to Henry.
nature. Yeah, he's nature studies to Frank.
Nature studies.
It's funny because this whole scene, the poor actress playing there's just kind of sitting there like, doo-doo-doo.
Do. I'm here. Please pan away from me now. Thank you.
So basically, Trapper's arguing, we've been doing surgery for 3 days. I want a break. Me and this nurse want to go out, relax, R&R, all that jazz. And one of my favorite lines is Trapper says, "You're sucking around to be a hood ornament," which is a vibe.
What a line. What a line from Trapper, honestly.
Followed by another great line, which is "Move over my dead body." Great idea.
What a great idea.
What a great idea. I love that Henry shows up. Frank tells him he's stealing your Jeep, and Trapper's like, "I was not stealing, I was pilfering." Which, semantics, but okay. Fair enough. I love that Frank still tries to pretend he has authority. Like, I'm assuming you have a good reason for taking the Jeep. He does not. He's just the snotty, like,
Frank,
that kid.
Frank is becoming
more
refined as Frank, I feel like.
He's honing his frankness.
Yes, his frankness is becoming more... he's sharpening his frankness, yes. I don't know how else to describe it.
He is... Oh God, what's like the samurai? You're fighting. You're the typhoon, not the lightning bolt. He's becoming the lightning bolt to Frank.
I'm not sure what that means, but I like it.
He's becoming very precise. His frankness is becoming laser guided.
Laser guided precision intercontinental Frank.
Like intercontinental ballistic burns. Oh no. Oh no. So Henry's clearly miffed also. Everyone's kind of angry in this episode.
Everyone's kind of needs to just get laid in this episode. Yeah.
Everyone needs a moment.
But Frank is being, the cock block 9000.
Well, of course.
Soon available in a hood ornament.
Yeah, Cowboy's angry, Henry's angry, Frank's angry. Everyone's angry this episode.
Everyone's just mad, yeah.
So Hawkeye appeals to Henry to have give some leave to Cowboy. And for some reason, this is kind of the second episode in a row, because Banana Crackers and Nuts was last, where Henry's just kind of like, I'm here, but I'm not going to do anything. Because last episode, he's like, oh, Hawkeye wants R&R? I'm going to go golfing. Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
So Hawkeye tries to say, like, his shoulder isn't the problem, but he's got something at home that is. Can we finagle at least, like, a little bit of time for him to get home and deal with whatever's going on? Which doesn't... We're going to learn later in the series that you can get sent home many different ways, and one of them is a hardship leave. Like, hey, there's something at home going wrong, and it is affecting my ability to stay focused on my job. Father Mulcahy, or the camp chaplain, or whoever is the appropriate person, can you approve a hardship leave for me? That would have been the route to go, because Father Mulcahy probably would have signed it in a heartbeat, and Henry probably would have supported it, but no, they're just trying to, like, oh, his shoulder's really bad, wink, wink. It's like, there's a way this could have worked, but it didn't. So, episode continues, and my phone was not silenced, and I'm bad. I'm a bad podcast host. Anyway.
That's fine.
I'll be shamed later for it.
I'm sure you will be.
Yeah. So, Henry gives Hawkeye a hard, nope, not going to let him go home. We're all stuck here. He can get over it. Again, a decision that I'm sure will have no ramifications moving forward.
None at all.
So Hawkeye and Trapper reconvene in the swamp. Now now everyone's angry. Hawkeye's annoyed that Henry is being kind of a stiff. Trapper's annoyed that he couldn't go on his 2 dates he had planned for that evening. In his own words, the season's first doubleheader. God. There's just so much adultery in the first season.
We said
it during like season 2, and I'm like, there's not that much. There's a lot. So they come up with a plan like we need to just Henry's just strung, high strung. It's been a week. Let's get Henry loose and relaxed, and maybe he'll be in a better mood and kind of see reason and let Cowboy have his leave. So they take Henry golfing with Ho-John being double caddy. Rip his shoulders.
Rest in pasta.
Rest in pasta his shoulders. So the course is apparently it's marked with a bra flag, which of course. Why not? And apparently it is a par 29, and you can't see the flag without binoculars. I don't know much about golf, but I feel like that's
not how it's supposed to be.
Desperate times.
Yes, and I forgot to mention the minefield is out of bounds on the left, and the Chinese communists are out of bounds on the right. So, your standard. It's not Pebble Beach, but it'll do. So we get to be honest, I believe this is one of the scenes that got cut down a lot in syndication, just because there's a lot of just still shots of golf happening, and
yeah, just a lot of golf.
I'm gonna be to the audience. If any of you play golf, I'm sorry. Golf is boring as shit 99% of the time.
Golf is not so much a sport as it is an excuse for the elderly to get out and socialize.
I would actually like to refine that statement. Golf is an excuse for my former coworkers to go out and drive golf carts drunk.
That is what the young people use golf as an excuse for. Yes. Yeah. And can I blame them? Absolutely not. Golf carts are fun.
Young people don't play golf. They play frisbee golf. So Henry drives, and apparently I don't know anything about golf. I don't know if Henry has a good swing. I don't. Genuinely have no idea.
It looks
Seems
nice,
like it.
I guess.
It looks like it didn't hurt, so God bless. They both drive. They go to where Henry's ball is, and apparently from where he hit the ball, which it presumably went, I'll give Henry 100 plus, easily 100 plus yards. I don't know how far a golf ball can be hit, okay? I'm just going to be level with you. I don't know if 100 yards is too much, too little. I don't know. I'm assuming he hit it a pretty good distance, and Hawkeye says he still has about a half mile to go.
Yeah.
I need to know how this course is laid out.
I need the definitive map of the MASH unit golf course.
I think it's just one hole.
Yes, it is.
One par 29 hole.
Yeah, it is. But what we really need to know is, what was the focus and zoom on those binoculars? Were those 8x40s? Because if so, god damn, is that flag far away?
I have no
I think
idea.
What we really need to know is what cup is the bra, so we know, just how large is the flag. Maybe it's closer than we realize.
Well, no, that wouldn't be that measurement. We need to know exactly how wide it is. Because if you can get the width of it, we can estimate the length and height of the flag.
Maybe you need to know how wide it is. I need the cup measurements of some of these nurses.
Ah.
So as Henry is teeing up his ball, he gets shot at from the direction of camp.
Yeah, indeed he does.
Said Anthony as he's desperately trying to save this section of the episode.
I'm sitting here watching this episode for the first time, and as our listeners might remember, this is like my first dedicated MASH watch through, so I didn't know what was going to happen. I think, what wacky hijinks are they going to get up to this week?
Wacky hijinks.
Henry gets fucking shot at.
Yeah, an assassination attempt. That's the wacky hijinks.
Well, no, to be clear, his ball was shot, not Henry. So it was a very well-aimed shot.
I mean...
So...
I don't know why somebody would assassinate a golf ball.
This is
clearly they hate golf.
We're going to talk about this later. Are we killing Henry or intimidating Henry into doing something you want him to do?
Why not both?
Why? Apparently, I don't know. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, the golf ball explodes. Excellent practical effect, by the way.
Yes, it was very good. Very nice.
Henry, as is fair, concedes the game because
naturally.
And we flash forward to later that evening Henry is bedding down for a long snoozle. And what is by far the best scene of the episode? A Jeep is set loose and drives through his quarters.
I feel like it just kind of gently rolls through, kind of
Yes.
bulldozes like a sleepwalking elephant,
Hang on,
Well,
but
but a pygmy elephant.
it is a. I don't know, how heavy is a U.S. Army Jeep? Like 2 tons, probably? A ton and a half?
Maybe, yeah. I'd say it's a little lighter than 2 tons. Yeah.
A ton and a half rolling pieces of steel against a U.S. Army canvas tent, which we have plenty of experience of knowing how
To be fair-
delicately those are standing.
To be fair, this tent might have had a 2x4, and that does add some structural stability.
No, I believe the tents for a semi-permanent base like this are actually have framed walls that the tent is draped over.
It is like a ton and a quarter.
Ton and a quarter. So yeah,
that a U.S. Army Jeep weighs.
I would love to actually know if the Jeep rolling that slow could actually knock down one of the walls, or if it just kind of breaks it a little. But
it's going at a decent click. Like
regardless, Henry's tent is, into Henry's words, Jeep smash tent. Boom.
Tent, Jeep, through. Boom.
Through tent Jeep smash. It reminds me of the George Washington Bridge song. It's like they told McLean Stevenson, here's the 4 words we want you to say. In every order that you can possibly say them, go. Tent, Jeep, smash,
Yeah.
Jeep, tent, smash, boom now?
Smash, boom, teep.
You know, I'm just
Teep, gent.
I'm watching this Jeep kind of roll on its own, and you know, you're seeing the steering wheel move, and I'm just wondering what poor PA showed up on set one day and said, "Hey, listen, I need you to lay down in this Jeep. We're gonna set it loose, and you're just gonna have to kind of guide it into a tent."
Or put it in neutral and rig it with a cable and pull it.
I like my version better. It involves a higher possibility of somebody being injured.
Oh, good. Of course. Yes. Why not? So Henry storms into the swamp, accusing Trapper of setting the Jeep through his tent. Because,
Which, to be fair, I would do the same based on Trapper, not letting me take the Jeep, and then having a Jeep roll through my tent. That just seems like too good to be true,
Yeah. That's fair. And as soon as they're like, no, we were here. And I love, where exactly is here? Here is where we are.
Here is where we are, Henry.
And Henry, in his confusion, stumbles away, and they're like, Henry's not okay right now. Let's go find Henry. And then the latrine he's in explodes. Which, regardless of what we may think of this episode when it comes time to rate it, this is one of probably the top, I won't say top 10 because there's a lot of iconic scenes in MASH. I'll say easily the top 10% of iconic scenes of MASH is this, is Henry with the toilet seat around his neck, boot in one hand, half a roll of toilet paper in the other, and everyone's just looking at him covered in dirt and grime, and he just goes, boom. After when everyone's like, yeah, the latrine exploding. Actually, what's funny is I think there's this another episode where Henry gets blown up in a latrine. It's also hilarious, but this is definitely the one that stands out because of just that still shot of Henry as he's just standing there confused with the toilet seat around his neck. So it's clear someone is out to get Henry. I wonder who it could be.
I think it's Trapper.
We may never know.
And I'll tell you why. I
think it's
know
Margaret.
that if somebody had canceled the first doubleheader of the season on me, I would be attempting murder also.
Perhaps. And then we get a lovely little scene between Radar and Henry, where Radar refuses to go anywhere near Henry because clearly he is a target.
Clearly. And Radar, quote, desires to live.
I've got this thing about living, sir. So he needs to get signatures from Henry. You can see Radar's confused, like, how do I do this? and then he puts on the little extendo stick the papers, and Henry's just sitting there staring at it as they come close to his face, and they dangle there. He just reaches up, signs it, lets go, and you hear the little back. It's such a great little scene.
The little whirring is just that's what makes it.
And Henry's face, his eyes bulging, like, what is happening right now? And the radar calls him again. Anything else, sir? No, I'm good.
No, I am okay.
We intentionally get another mail call delivery showing that Cowboy still hasn't gotten a letter, which he says it's been 1 week since she's written. I don't know much about mail transport in the 1950s.
In the Korean War, I feel like that is completely reasonable.
I mean, okay, unless she's writing you literally every week, so like, yeah, you might be getting the letters, say 2 or 3 weeks late. One's coming every week. If it's regular correspondence like that, and you haven't gotten one in a week, then that maybe she hasn't written. But also, we're going to see that mail delivery issues are a constant in the MASH camp. So, yeah, I find it like 1 week since she hasn't written, it's like, I guarantee you that the letter hasn't left the continental U.S. yet. Relax, Cowboy. Literally.
Every little thing's going to be all right.
And then there's this little conversation that it pans out that it seems like he's afraid that his wife is maybe seeing someone else. Quote, she's a sucker for a 10-gallon hat. And then we get the scene where I'm like, that finally makes me go, the writing for the mystery of this episode was done so bad. So poorly.
It was not a great writing-wise, but at least we had some entertaining characters.
Yeah, have you seen any snakes, Hawkeye? Not while I'm sober. And he pulls out his gun. He's like, I can shoot the eyes out of a rattler at a full gallop. And then menacingly turns to the camera. But the army's got its own snakes, don't it? On a completely unrelated note, someone's trying to kill Henry.
What could this possibly mean? A mystery. Anyway.
And even Hawkeye's like,
all right. Interesting. I'll take note of that and save it for later.
No one wants to. Oh, God. Yeah. Please tell us how it's totally not Cowboy. I'll wait.
Well, he's got a cool hat.
I'm sold.
Case closed.
I'm sold.
So Henry goes to the mess tent. No one wants to sit near him. The cook prepared pork chops and mashed potatoes for him. Okay. And French peas. Damn.
God,
and then Trapper.
It looks delicious. It's even on a real
plate. This inconsiderate piece of shit. I'm sorry. I'm calling Trapper out here. This man.
Yeah, it was pretty rude.
No, shut up, Ethan. This man has a death sentence on his head, and he has nice, hot, real food. And this jackass eats it in front of him. Please,
you guys.
Stan Wayne Rogers. Please, Stan
You're damn
Trapper
right
John.
I'm going to. So you know what? Henry goes ahead and recommands his Jeep from Trapper, for this first doubleheader of the season, and Trapper doesn't even try to kill him. He eats his food. That is fair recompense. That is all is right in the world again.
You just like him because he has an Irish last name and boxes. Anyway.
Okay, 2 things can be true.
So they recommend that Henry get out of camp, let whatever heat is on him die down. And Henry dejectedly looks at his plate. The Trapper ate, and I'm upset about it. Henry delicately showing Frank around his office, and Frank's just standing there unconcerned. Like, okay, whatever. I'm in charge. That's cool. Henry makes it clear to Frank that you're not here to like reinvent the camp. Just keep it running while I'm gone. And then his chair explodes, which, again, another wonderful practical effect.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to be standing in the same room with a wooden chair splintering to a bunch of pieces. But, that's neither here nor there. I trust the prop guys. I'm sure it was safe and fine and all that. Yeah, that thing really did full on explode in front of them. Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
Practical effects are awesome. So Henry's waiting for a Jeep and Cowboy offers to fly him.
What a nice stand-up guy.
Yeah.
What an amazing fella. Yeah. Real stand-up guy.
And of course, Hawkeye's not there because what's Hawkeye doing? Discovering the alarm clock bits and gunpowder under Cowboy's cot in post-op. And now Sherlock Holmes has figured it out. By gosh, it was Cowboy all along. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not convinced somebody planted that.
Dun, 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 ba-da-ba-dum.
It was Goldstein. I'm sure of it.
So, as soon as they realize this, we pan back to Cowboy and Henry in a helicopter. And only one of them is wearing a parachute. This seems fine. This seems safe.
This is fine.
Well, Henry doesn't need a parachute. Cowboy very clearly says that he doesn't need one.
But you are correct. He did say that. I trust him.
All right. Yeah. So they're trying to get Cowboy on the radio because they know that he's with Henry and he's probably going to do something mischievous. And this is what I don't understand. What is Cowboy's game plan?
Like,
Is
what
it
is the dealio here? Because it
You're
seems like
going
he's
to-
just going for straight up murder.
Yeah, if you murder your commanding officer, which I don't even know if Henry is his commanding officer. I don't know how the military, I don't know if the helicopters are under Henry's purview or someone else's.
Yeah.
So you want to get back to the States to see your wife so you can save your marriage. So you're going to kill a superior officer and go to Leavenworth? No, actually, you won't go to Leavenworth. You'll be summarily executed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm just a little confused about how you go from step one, there's an issue with my wife and I think she's unfaithful, so I must go back to make sure she is still faithful to me. Therefore, step two,
Murder
ask
this man.
commanding officer. No, step two, I've been shot. How convenient. Is this bad enough to get me sent back home? No? Step three, homicide.
Homicide. And I like how you could argue, like, oh, he was just trying to intimidate Henry into letting him go home. It's like, one,
No parachute. And he tried to push him out of the helicopter.
I'm talking about the shooting of the golf ball in the Jeep through the tent. That could be scary
intimidation.
times.
Intimidation, sure.
But
sure.
if he doesn't know who's intimidating him, what motivation is there for him to... It's like, damn, someone's trying to kill me. I feel like signing this paper randomly for no reason.
I mean, hey, Radar's pretty good. He's pretty slick with it.
Anyway. Of all the papers Henry couldn't accidentally sign.
It couldn't be that one.
It couldn't be that one. So a letter arrives for Cowboy, conveniently while they are trying to get a hold of him. So they try to coax him into landing by saying, look, we got the letter. We'll tell you what it says. Yada, yada, yada. Another great line from Hawkeye about Radar's height. If you were any taller, I'd kiss you on the lips. Just throwing that in there.
Poor Radar.
That is one of the better. There's one of the best height joke about Radar we haven't heard yet, and I will let you know when we get to it. So they we got a letter from your wife. Jean is, that's your wife's name. And you're like, that's right. Where'd it come from? And they start reading it out. And when I first remember seeing this episode, I didn't understand why the Reno stigma. Because as soon as they read that it's from Reno, they're like, shit. I get it. Reno's a weird place, but was it known at one point for being the place you run off to and elope? I don't know.
I mean, Reno in the 50s specifically, I would say was a bit of a hoppin' wild town, I think. Yeah.
I mean, wasn't it Reno and Vegas? You could rent hotel rooms and watch them test nukes in the 50s.
I mean, actually, yeah.
yeah.
It was a hoppin' wild town and radioactive.
So I just looked it up. The letter is postmarked Reno, Nevada, which sends them into a panic, given Reno's reputation at the time for quick and painless divorce proceedings.
Oh,
That's so much worse.
yeah.
Oh my god.
And then you get, Reno, that's where I live. I love Henry. What a lovely town.
What I love town.
So, one of us on this podcast, well, I think all three of us on this podcast don't like Las Vegas. One of us really doesn't like Las Vegas. Since Reno is like the second largest city in Nevada, how do we feel about Reno?
Sucks.
But
I'd
like
not
in what
venture
way?
up north to the northern part of the state.
Hate it.
Is it
Why
like
would I
Las
want to
Vegas
see
or does
more
it?
of Nevada?
Oh no. Is it like Las Vegas or has it got its own vibe of weirdness?
It's definitely got its own vibe of weirdness, but it's just as bad and gross.
It's just gross in a different way. Yeah. Not to the same extent or capacity as Vegas, but don't get me wrong, it is still gross in its own very special Reno way.
Yeah, if Vegas is Sodom, Reno is Gomorrah.
Oh god.
Ah.
I've only ever truly been in true downtown Reno once, and that was during Hot August nights in the middle of the day.
Okay, Hot August nights is different.
Yeah.
That is a boppin' good time.
The only other time that anyone I know regularly visits Reno are my parents. Actually, I think next weekend. Yeah, next weekend they're going up for Rib Fest because yes, Rib Fest. Like a bajillion people out just barbecuing in a parking lot. Hell yes. Anyway. All right, I was just curious about Reno, like, because literally the closest I get to Reno other than Hot August nights is the Cabela's in Sparks, or not even Sparks. It's like the other side of Reno, this side of Reno, but Boomtown. That's where I'm thinking of. Anyway, Reno tangent over. So Reno is where he lives, and so they open up the letter, and it starts with "Dear John."
Dear John.
Which, for those of you who do not know, who are maybe this is their first watch through of MASH or aren't familiar with late 40s, early 50s military terminology, a Dear John letter is a letter in which your sweetheart tells you they're breaking up with you. So a Dear John letter, a Dear Jane letter is... Because, and I think the reason it gets that stigma is if you're writing your loved one, you don't say, Dear Sarah, in like a somber tone. You say sweetheart or puddin' or pump. You know, you wouldn't start it that formally if it's at that a correspondence with someone that close. So that kind of like, dear John, I'm so sorry to say that we can I don't know why I made this Southern all of a sudden. We can no longer continue our relationship. You know, so I think that's where that Dear John, again, I think I could look it up. I don't know. I'm spitballing here. But I think it comes from that. If it starts out so formally, it's kind of like a warning sign.
Like a what is the rest of the contents of this letter? Yeah.
So, dear John, and I love the little pause. John, yeah, that's my name. And Henry just looks over like, where am I right now? He's like, Dear John from Reno. Okay,
I'm here for it. I don't have a choice, and I'm here for it.
And they start reading out the letter, and it's like this woman cannot be allowed to write letters. Jesus Christ. When you've been away from someone you thought you loved, son of a bitch, you find yourself tested. I found myself tested. Dear John.
Oh God, a double Dear John job.
Yeah, and right on the back, a double Dear John. And they're just sitting at the radio like, Jesus Christ. But she turns it around. If I told you that I've been with the best, I don't remember the exact wording of everything, but she basically...
tootinest cowboy.
The rootinest, tootinest, star-spangled shootinest cowboy I've ever been with. What the hell's wrong with us? But yeah, basically she says, I was tested. I feel bad. I still love you very much. I can't wait till you're home. Hugs and kisses, Bethilda, or whatever her name was. Jean. Jean was her name.
Gene, yes.
Jean Hodges. So that was kind of the stress break that Cowboy needed. And Henry, understanding that Cowboy was just very in an emotional state, basically, got not thinking clearly. He's like, it's whatever, let's go home. Which, yay, good. Box 743 Reno. So Cowboy goes back. It's found out that they were able to get Cowboy some leave home in Lakeland so he could see his wife and kind of de-stress a little bit. And Henry's being all nonchalant, like, oh, I wasn't scared. And then a Jeep backfires and he goes into full panic alert mode, dunking his martini all over Trapper. Which, God bless.
I always love a happy ending.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Cowboy. It is an episode.
Yeah.
It is an episode.
It is. Yep.
I was surprised because I went into this episode. This is another one of those episodes where I went into it like, oh, Cowboy's a great episode. I remember it fondly. And then I watched through it with this more like critical thinking about it. Like actually sitting down and watching it, not just having it on in the background. And then I realized, oh, this is another one of those episodes that I just kind of let play and don't think about. Kind of like Bananas, Crackers, and Nuts, but not quite as much. I will say, and someone commented on it, and I'll read their comment here in a second. I do think it does give us a little bit of a glimpse, like some of these silly episodes do, that, hey, this soldier is having a problem, and it's affecting him mentally, physically, and emotionally. And that happens to a lot of people in a war zone, and it's something that they're going to, again, kind of like with the Korean civilians and the moral arguments and the arguments against the way the U.S. Army conducts themselves, like they're going to slowly start pulling at these threads, and you're not going to really notice it because it's whitewashed over real thick with all the comedy and stuff. But you get a little bit of that thread pull in this episode. But yeah. The whole plot of I wonder who could be after Henry. I'm sure it's not the jaded helicopter pilot that wants to go see his family. It couldn't possibly be him. But what'd you guys think? Give me your thoughts. You don't have to give me your ratings right now if you don't want to, but you can give me your thoughts. Opinions.
I'm glad we get to see Father Mulcahy. That was definitely a highlight of the episode.
Yes.
Love Father Mulcahy. Cowboy, interesting character. Feel like his actions this episode were very smooth-brained of him. I'm hoping we get some textured brain action later from Cowboy, but
you think we get to see this character?
Ah, shit.
Yeah, hate to spoil it for you. This is another one of those could be a great character.
Maybe that's for the best.
Which is a shame because I really liked Billy Greenbush's performance as Cowboy. I thought it was a fun character, a little bit of a caricature.
Fun character, yeah. Just I don't really want to hear about, I don't want to hear another Dear John letter.
Yeah.
Oh, if that's like the shtick every time he's on screen, but yeah.
Dear John.
It's just another dear every time. Tim
and I went out dancing John. Last night. It's okay, Tim's my cousin. Like, God damn it. Tim's her,
Yeah.
Tim's my boy, or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that nobody should tell Klinger that he can go home by attempting murder on Henry.
I mean, I don't think he tries to murder Henry. We'll find out. I don't remember. I don't think Klinger tries to kill anybody.
Clearly, attempting murder does not get you sent home.
Yeah. Yeah. In any other unit, maybe, but not this unit. No, sir.
So just another crazy Tuesday.
So what would you guys rate this lovely episode?
Oh, man. I think I'm going to give this one a 2.5, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the lowest rating I've given so far, but yeah.
I I went into this series saying there are gonna be some not as stellar episodes.
Yeah, and we get good characters, but the plot is just not great. The writing in this episode to me was just not it. We get some fun little scenes, some diamonds in the rough, if you will, but there's a whole lot of rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like we'll have an episode that's similar, where we get like a one-off character that does some funky stuff. That's done just so much better, basically.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's just kind of a pretty generic filler episode. Not much character development. I mean, we get introduced to Father McCahey, but I don't know. It's about like the only new thing that happens that is here to stay, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, this isn't even the first time we saw Father McCahey.
No, it's not.
What about you, Wilson?
I don't know. I'm going to be a little more charitable because I agree with Jasky. The writing, the plot, a lot of holes. Not their best work. I'm going to assume that the writing staff was hungover or drinking at the time. But there were some really good gags. And I'm willing to be a lot more charitable to an episode that makes me laugh, even if the plot is bad. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay. And I don't disagree. I think this episode was funny, and I think Billy Greenbush did a great job as Cowboy. But yeah, the thing that stuck in my craw was that it was a sloppier plot than some of the other episodes we've had. Like even some of our other episodes that we rated a little lower, I'd say this one is on par with like plot pacing, and not pacing, but where Bananas, Crackers, and Nuts was like pacing and trying to put two stories together. This is like one story that just needed to get fleshed out or like reworked a little bit, I think. So I am also going to rate it 2.5 along with a Jared. And now, our favorite part. We get to go to the listener comments.
It's been so long.
It's been so long and we're so sorry. But for them, we're right on pace because I'm going to edit this and put it out on Monday. So it's for them, time has changed, but not at all. For us, though, it's very confusing. Where are we at? This lightsaber kills fascists.
Oh, good.
For me, this episode is the epitome of meh. I know it has the famous Henry Soot scene. I feel this episode is MASH still trying to find its tone, which, spoiler, this episode ain't it. Not a terrible episode, but not one I revisit often. 2 out of 5. And there was actually a little I don't want to say an argument. There is a very politely debated point of there is a famous episode where Henry gets a bunch of soot on his face. I say a famous episode. There is a scene that sticks in people's minds the image of where Henry gets a bunch of soot on his face, and this is actually not the episode that people were talking about. But yeah, it means nothing right now. Chief Smash Forever, ditto on what Lightsaber Kills Fascist said. Not a great episode overall. The latrine blowing up scene is gold. I'll watch it when I'm rewatching while doing it in order, but don't seek it out on its own. I'd also give it a 2 out of 5, knowing they will keep improving the rest of the season. Goose says, "Oh no, a double deer John John." Ray Lagarde says Jeep tent smash, but of course.
Mm-hmm.
Adam V has a good point. I love any episode that showcases Henry. I have such quoting South Park. I have such member berries about watching the reruns of the early seasons and watching my mom laugh. Yeah, definitely more McLean Stevenson. Definitely a plus.
Good characters in the episode. Yes.
Clark D. Schnepf is the one that mentioned that the episode is good. It's the last 5 minutes are the most powerful bit of the episode where, yes, it's goofy and you think that they're going to push Henry out of a helicopter, but we do get that little bit of, again, this is an episode that tries something that's going to get done way better in later episodes, but the approaching a soldier who's having a bit of a mental breakdown and trying to pull them back from the ledge. This is one that's done with a lot of slapstick. They're going to be very... I can think of one now in one of the later seasons, Billfold Syndrome, that is this little last 5 minutes of this episode cranked to like 15. It's a hard episode. But I can see where the last 5 minutes of this episode would stick out as they're gonna take that idea and run with it. And yeah, and Flafan also says this episode had moments that hinted at what is to come. So yeah, that was the Cowboy, or not the Cowboy, just Cowboy.
Just Cowboy.
When I saw the initial audience reactions of 2s out of 5s, I was like, really? And then I watched the episode again. I'm like, you know what? No, that's yeah. I had rose tinted glasses thinking about this episode for sure until I watched it again with a more analytical eye. So yeah, and if you, dear listener, would like to chime in on this or any of the other season 1 episodes we have talked about thus far, you can find us at basically every social media at Best Care Anywhere Podcast or Best Care Anywhere Pod, depending on what social media allows you to put in for an @ code. You can also email us at bestcareanywherepod@gmail.com. You can, again, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, smoke signals, Instagram, throw a rock through my bedroom window with a note tied to it. You know, whatever
we
works for you.
We are not on MySpace, though.
We're not on MySpace.
Not yet.
Get with the times. Pony Express, if someone's still riding a horse across the country, God bless, go for it. So yeah, anything else you guys want to throw out before we depart for this week?
If my house burns down, I blame you.
Me
you,
or
the
the
listener,
audience?
or
you, the singular, or you, the collective?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Understandable. Have a nice house fire. Dear listener, please be sure to join us next time for Henry, Please Come Home.
The time has come for us to say sayonara.